before we start our journey, we're just going to be looking at this Google Earth map quick. Now the Brereton Colliery Line is 1.9 miles from Rugeley Town Station to Brick Kiln Colliery. So this is how the railway used to look like on Google Earth. And I'm going to start our journey at Rugeley Town Railway Station. Hello everyone, Simon Trains here, or some people like to call me Simon Trains. It doesn't matter which way you like to pronounce it, it's fine with me. Now our starting point today is Rugeley Town Railway Station, but we're not going to catch a train. In fact, we're actually going to be walking the Brereton Colliery Line, but this is where it started, right here. This side had some sidings down on this platform here, which I'll explain in a minute, but it started right here. The original Rugeley Town Railway Station, which I'll go on in a minute, is just actually behind me here, which closed in 1965. Now we're going to be talking a bit about the line first, between Cannock and Rugeley Trent Valley. Before we start talking about the Brereton Colliery Line, we've got to talk about the first railway line that came through Rugeley. Now the line between Cannock to Rugeley was owned by the Cannock Minimal Railway. The construction of the line was by the contractors Taylor Robinson, with George Heald as the civil engineer. But while the line was built, George Heald died in May 1858 at Market Street in Rugeley, and Thomas Brassey was engaged to complete the line. The line opened on the 7th of November 1859. Now what you're seeing straight ahead is the first site of Rugeley Town Railway Station. Now this didn't open till the 1st of June 1870 by the London North Western Railway, who ended up taking over the Cannock Minimal Railway. The station closed on the 18th of January 1965 and didn't reopen till the 2nd of June 1997. Now just south of the station and beyond where that signal is used to be a signal box. Now this was a London North Western Railway Type 5 signal box named Brereton Sidings, which opened in 1908 and closed in 2013. And just after the signal box lies the start of the Brereton Colliery Line, which opened in 1876. I've now come to the southern end of Rugeley Town Railway Station. Now there's a bridge just underneath here. Now where the bridge is and this 45 mph speed sign used to be a line down there. Now that was a finger turnback siding. And here's the view of that head shunt taken from the bridge. And the line for the Brereton Colliery actually went off in this direction towards this way after that van, in that direction, which you're going to be walking at now in a second. Now, like I said, the signal box was just here, and there was a couple of sidings, about 2 of them, that actually were where this down platform to Birmingham is. And at the top of this siding, there's like 2 buffer stops that are made out like a brick or concrete, which I'll just show you now. And then after that, we're going to be starting walking the line. What we're looking at now is where the line actually turned off the chase line. Now, as you can probably just about work out how the trees are like at a curve, because that's where the track used to be when it came off. Just there was actually 2 lines here. One was a siding and the other actually took you down to Brick Kiln Colliery. I'm now in the car park at Rugeley Town Railway Station. Now before we start our walk to Brick Kiln Colliery, I'm just going to have a look at this behind me, because this road is actually called Wharf Road. Now there's quite a bit of history of this road, because it was actually opened in 1876. It was next to the site of the first Rugeley Town Railway Station. But the road actually took you to a new landslide which had been built next to the junction. This road allowed cars to be loaded and unloaded and gave access to the local population to buy coal. Burn Britain's coals and be satisfied. But we are now going to be walking in that direction and head away from Rugeley Town Railway Station towards the line, the Brereton Colliery Line, and towards Brick Kiln Colliery and the other collieries that are in the area as well. As I mentioned earlier on the platform, the Brereton Colliery Line started here and it went around this way towards this path here. Now this is the start of the Brereton and Ravenhill way, which is a public footpath, but some of it has the track bed of the Brereton Colliery Line. In this direction here used to be all trees, but now they've been cut down. There used to be two passing loops here and a siding which took you to a dead end. You will see this on an OS map from dating the late 1800s to 1914, which is where most of the research is done. Now we are going to be starting walking the colliery line now. Now this line actually took you to two collieries. Coppice Colliery, which we'll be talking about that later on in the blog, and also Brick Kiln Colliery, which was later renamed Brereton Colliery. Now what you can see is at the start of this walk, it's just here, there's an embankment just along here. Now this embankment I think was part of the railway, but I'm not too sure on that. But we are going to be walking now in this direction. And just to show you here before we carry on walking is what could be an embankment where the railway line's on. It actually does go across all the way in that direction. We should be heading that direction now. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to be doing a speed up video of the part of the Brereton Colliery Line, which we're going to be start walking it now. We just come from that direction. That takes you to Rugeley Town Railway Station, and this is where the Brereton Colliery Line came. Unfortunately though, it does run into its first obstacle, which is just behind me here. Now behind me is St Joseph Catholic Primary School. Now unfortunately, since that line's blocked, we've got to take a little detour. Now, not much of a detour because we're now coming onto the Pear Tree Estate, which is part of Rugeley. And then we're going this way to head this way. Now the line actually went a bit further this way. I think the hedge is roughly where the line is, in that direction. But we're just going to walk this part now. So this is a little detour off the Brereton Colliery Line. And we're going to meet you just up this hill here, so I can show you something. Well, I can't actually show you something, but roughly, because I mentioned earlier there's some loops up here. I'll show you where the loops actually end to start the branch line of one track heading towards Coppice Colliery and Brereton Colliery. Behind me here in this field is a tree line. Now that tree line is actually where the two loops that were on about earlier at Rugeley Town Railway Station joined onto the Brereton Colliery Line. So after these trees it was just single line throughout. Now unfortunately we still can't walk that line, so I'm going to be walking this direction and we'll be joining the line very shortly. This road I'm standing on now is Queen's Way. Now in the Pear Tree Estate in Rugeley and Brereton, because I just walked up that hill from down there, and the Brereton and Ravenhill way actually carries on this direction, but that's not the direction I want. But if you're wondering where it does go, I'll show you quickly. just to this field here, but we'll show you this field in a minute. Because I actually want to head in that direction down there. Because when we get down here, which we're just going to walk down now, is where the line actually meets up again, the Brereton Colliery Line. So we're just going to head there now, then we will rejoin the line in a second. Behind me now is Queensway and the Pear Tree Estate. Now the Brereton Colliery Line is actually joined here down this path, but this is not the line. Because where this path is actually used to be the embankment. The actual line is just where this hedge here is. Now in this direction there's nothing here because it's all been built over. But now we are going to be walking in this direction to carry on our journey on the Brereton Colliery Line. Now we just came out from that direction here, but the railway line I think was actually just along here behind me now. There did actually used to be a bridge that the railway went over around here. Now there's nothing much in this area again, it's just a car park or deserted area. But we are going to be carrying on in that direction because that's where the line carries on. Now I think it actually carries on through here. But we're just going to be walking that part of the alleyway now to head to the next area. Behind me here is the Brereton and Ravenhill way. Now just before this gate here there was actually a point just here. Now this point actually took you to just a dead end siding which is just in that direction over here. The road behind me just here is called Wharf Road, but I'm more interested in this road down here because that road is called Cherry Tree Lane. Now unfortunately the track bed has been built on by houses which are just here. The track actually went off in that direction. So we're going to be walking Cherry Tree Road until I get to a point that I'm actually diverted away from the railway now. I'm now at the end of Cherry Tree Road. Now the railway line actually used to carry on in that direction down here, where the houses are. But unfortunately I've got to take a little diversion this way. Now we are walking nowhere near the railway for a bit. Yeah, you know, here's a bit of the Brereton Ravenhill way here, which is just here. I'll put that on the screen in a second, but we are going to be heading, well, let's step back a bit, that way, not that way, because that hopefully should take you to a junction where the line branched off to Coppice Colliery, which we'll talk about in a second. Now we just walked it down here, but I'm pretty sure, I'm not 100% sure on this, the junction for Coppice Colliery was just here where I'm standing, and it took you in that direction. Now I'm just going to put it on the overlay that direction for a second just to talk about Coppice Colliery. We're not actually going to the site because I don't think you can reach that site. but I'll just talk to it from here. We're roughly looking now where the direction used to take you to Coppice Pit. Now Coppice Pit was opened in 1842, 17 years before the Cannock Minimal Railway was opened. It also had other names as well, Coppice Pit or the Big Pit, but early records refer to as the older car Coppice Pit. During the 1860s to 1870s, the colliery was the main producer for the Brereton Colliery Company, which was once of the reasons it's called the Big Pit. The railway came to this colliery in 1875, which had an engine shed on site to accommodate with 2 saddle tank locomotives. However, the pit closed in 1908 when an accident happened. On the 15th February 1908, when the workings were flooded and 3 men, Albert Curtis, William Jarvis and Isaac Harvey, were killed, and this led to the closure of the pit. The lines were ripped up in somewhere between the late 30s and 1940s. Okay, so I've just walked it from that way, and I think the railway actually used to come back here. But I'm actually interested in going that way. So I did say I won't be able to get to Coppice Colliery, which is just in that direction, but I think I can. I'm just going to have a quick look down that way, and then we'll carry on our journey. I'm now in the deep further of the woods, and what I've just come across is absolutely interesting, but I don't want to cross it just in case. But I've just seen this here. I'll probably zoom on it in a second, but I think we're in Coppice Colliery now. I don't know if there's anything else, but I'll zoom in on this now, and then we'll carry on our journey. I've had a brief look around, but I could not see anything at all apart from what I just showed you over here. I think that could be a shaft. I don't know. I don't know what it is, to be honest. But anyway, I'm going to head back in that direction now to join the line towards Brick Kiln Colliery / Brereton Colliery. I'm not 100% sure on this, but we are headed this way now. But I think just round here was where the junction came off for Belfast Pit, which was another pit around here. For all I know, where it could just be was Belfast Pit, but I'm not 100% sure. I think it's in that direction just past the industrial estate. We'll just have a look at there in a second, but we're just going to carry on walking in this direction behind me here. What I'm actually walking on is actually part of the Brereton Colliery Line, so we're actually back on the line again. Now, yes, I actually remember during my research actually, this is the railway line. Because just down here, where I was looking on maps and all that, I think the line actually crossed this road just right ahead of me now. So, what we're looking at here is that the line actually came through from this direction and it just crossed over here. I do apologise about that sound, I don't know what it is, but I think it could be alarm. So we'll just come here now because there is a warehouse or industrial estate just behind me here. This is actually all industrial estate here. But I think the Brereton Colliery Line carried on that way. Behind me is the Brereton and Ravenhill way. Now I think that used to be the railway line there, but I'm actually going to take a quick detour this way because this road up here is called Brick Kiln Lane. Now I'm going to be Brick Kiln Way, sorry, not lane, way. Now I'm going to walk up here because there was actually another colliery just up this road. Now I didn't have much information on it because it said Brereton Colliery on the map, but I think the colliery that was up here was called the Levels. So I'm just going to explore that area quick, and then I'm going to be going down that way because that right there is Colliery Road, and that's where it takes you to Brick Kiln Colliery. So I'll just have a quick walk up this road here, have a look up there, and then we carry on. Now I've just come back to the woods again because this path right here is roughly where Belfast Pit was. Now I'm just having a look around here, but there's nothing in view at all. Again, it's one of those that closed around the 1920s-ish. Well, 1908 I think it actually closed, 1908 to 1920. But yeah, I can't find nothing here to say that it was here, but I think it was roughly in this area of the woods that I'm at now. Might just have to have a quick look and then head back towards the road, Colliery Road, to finish off the journey. I think around here where I'm at is the location of Belfast Pit. There is nothing here because, again, I'll just read off the notes quickly. That Belfast Pit opened in 1841. This pit was opened due to the prompt temporary floods of the old engine workings, which we'll see later when we visit the old Edge Colliery later on. The Belfast Pit closed on the same time as Coppice Colliery in 1908. So again, I think it's just all woodlands now. There's nothing here at all. So I'm going to head back that way to Colliery Road because we need to find 3 more pits, which are very close to each other. Now come back to Brereton's Business Park, which is also known as the Levels area. Because just in that direction here, which I'll talk about quick, is the Guinness Tramway. Now that used to take you to the canal at the Trent to Mersey Canal. Sadly though, there's not much left of it. It used to just be a straight line. But yeah, I did look into the history of that. It might be something to do, but there's not really much of it. But anyway, I'm actually coming down to Colliery Road here because we're going to be looking at the track bed again. Now, just got across here, nobody's around. There's some cars around. Now, where I was earlier before I diverted off, I'm actually, this is Colliery Road here, which we'll be walking in a second. But the railway line used to come in that direction here, and it carried on in that direction here where that gate is. Now there is also a board here which I'll zoom in on the second, part of the Brereton and Ravenhill way, which is the levels, and there is also a little board here that's talk about the levels in full. So I'll zoom in on these boards now, and then we're going to carry on our journey towards Brick Kiln Colliery. Now come to the pine trees here. This is the name of the road because there is also a colliery here that was named Brereton Colliery. You have a look on the old OS maps, it does state it as Brereton Colliery. I don't know if it was a part of Belfast Pit or what. I did try and look for information on this one, but sadly I could not find any information, but the site of it was just roughly around here. Anyway, we're going back now to the public footpath to try and find Hayes Colliery, the old engine pit and Brick Kiln Colliery. Oh, would help. This field behind me is where the old engine pit used to be. Now this was a colliery as well, which I'll do the quick history of this, but then I might have to go back the same way because I don't think, I'm on this track here. I'm not too sure if that will still carry on to where I want to go, but if not, I'm going to have to turn back. But anyway, let's do the quick history of this, because where I want to be at the end is actually on the opposite side of this road here. There's probably a green fence in view in the background. That's where I want to end up walking, so we'll just do the quick history here, then carry on. So in front of you now is the site of the old Edge Colliery. Now this opened in 1790. The name suggests that it was the site of the first steam-powered engine to be used on the site. The colliery ceased coal production in 1928, but the site was kept open until around 1950 when it closed. Now I know the road's in that direction, but I haven't studied this footpath, so I don't know where it takes me. But I was hoping, I think I might have seen something here. I think I'm at a good point where I wanted to be. So I was going to show you this from Colliery Road, Hayes Colliery and Brick Kiln Colliery, but whoa, I hate those little insects that fly around you. Don't know, looks like a bloody maze. Anyway, I'm going to investigate some more, see if I can try and make out where I'm at. Colliery Road's just behind me, but it's blocked off. But I came here by a public footpath in that direction. I'm guessing this has got to be public. So I think I'll walk in this direction. We're in the colliery areas now, but Hayes Colliery and Brick Kiln Colliery are just somewhere in that direction behind me. So I'm just going to have a look and see if I can get access to them from this way. Just walked up this hill, and to be honest, there's actually a quite nice view out of there as well. But I think this is the closest I'm going to be. But I think where I'm at now is Hayes Colliery's just over there, and in that direction over here is Brick Kiln Colliery. This is where basically the end of the journey is. Brick Kiln Colliery was named Brereton Colliery. Before I talk about the history of Hayes and Brick Kiln Colliery, the railway line was actually in the distance here, and it actually went around this way towards Brick Kiln Colliery here. So I'll just do a quick history of the two, and then I think we're going to end it. We're now looking in the direction of Hayes Colliery. Now Hayes Colliery opened in 1817 when the first shafts were sunk for the Marquis of Anglesey. From 1817 to 1828 the Marquis's agent managed the mine, but in November 1828 the lease was granted for Joseph Palmer, who had a son named William Palmer, who was the infamous Rugeley poisoner. The colliery ran as an independent colliery until rationalisation of Brick Kiln in the 1870s. The Hayes Colliery ceased coal production and was mainly used as service shafts until the closure in the 20th century. In front of you now is Brick Kiln Colliery. Now this started in 1820 when the first shafts were sunk into Hayes wood to help ventilate the workings in Hayes Colliery. This was the start of the most successful site of the Brereton pits. In 1872 the reconstruction of Brick Kiln Colliery was carried out after it was recognised that the colliery was the logical point of extraction. The reconstruction allowed include a branch line from the Cannock Minimal Railway, which was completed in 1876. In the 1920s the name was changed to Brereton Colliery, and it was also rebuilt. In 1928, the village of Brereton received the first supply of electricity from this colliery. Now, unfortunately, during the late 1940s, The National Coal Board had plans for a super mine at Mile Colliery. The first shafts were sank in 1954 and Mile Colliery opened in 1960. However, this led to Brick Kiln or Brereton Colliery to close, and the last train round on the line on the 1st of June 1960. The colliery was demolished in 1962, which included 213 Squadron having a go at blowing up major structures in May 1962. So, the railway ended here at Brick Kiln Colliery, later Brereton Colliery. Now, we did not travel much of the original line, but we tried our best to do it, and to be honest, it has been a hell of a walk, to be honest, finding all this stuff out so we could find the mines that were there. Now, I think we're going to leave it here, so thank you for watching this video of my disused railway walk, you could say, the Brereton Colliery Line, all the best we could do. I'm going to end it with a shot looking down at Brereton and Rugeley. So this blog has been terminated roughly where the site of Brick Kiln Colliery is. Thank you for walking with Simon Trains, and we'll see you for the next vlog very soon.